Your side, that Lugia V-Star and the prizes could be big. There's just 2 in the deck. A lot of these players have been trimming on that V-Star this weekend.
You know, don't get caught slacking. That is a good Pokemon. And if you don't find it at the right time, you just lose.
Well, starting things off, it is Masters top 4 here. And having the capture energy on the Lugia V. Now you can find that Oranguru and see a little bit more cards here. It's pretty standard turn 1 play from a Lugia deck.
Yep, got a little bit of a look at the hand there. Looks like some of those favorable special energy cards are stuck in the hand right now, so could be a little bit awkward here for Andrew, but honestly, just going first with the Lugia feels fairly comfortable, and maybe an early Oranguru would help out here just to get those cards back into the deck, and you're just looking for a shuffle effect at that point.
Also does feel a little bit better when your opponent doesn't start the Comfey. So you force 1 extra switch out on their turn.
You're also not playing against a turbo build, but you know what? Nicholas has the potential. We've seen this deck pop off before in the past, and he's got the cards to do it. We've seen cards like that Amazing Rare Raikou be able to take some big knockouts early on if you can get that the early energy acceleration by way of the Mirage Gate.
Taking a look through the list as well. It is exciting to see some more bad trainer cards, item cards coming into.
do share. I'm sure you will upset many people.
The capturing aroma in Andrew's deck. It is just that 13th search card, right?
Yes.
Being able to grab a Pokemon, you know, based on a coin flip, but when you just need a specific Pokemon as soon as possible, might as well.
I mean, if you look at the list, this is the replacement for a Lugia V-Star. And that I don't know if we can compare those 2 cards accurately right now.
No, I'm going to call it now. Capturing Aroma is going to come in huge this match.
We shall see. I think Stoutland V could come in huge here, as that is a fantastic Pokemon when you're playing against the Lost Box.
Going to start things off for Nicholas' side of things with Battle VIP Pass. Always where you want to be. Grab those extra Pokemon and being able to, you know, get that information of what is prized.
If you did not catch the match earlier on in the tournament, we featured Nicholas. He does play the double copy of the Manaphy, so don't be surprised to see that Pokemon come down at some point. Can be beneficial when you're trying to avoid additional prize cards being taken by that Raikou on the other side from Andrew. And definitely surprised us the first time we saw 2 down. We thought we were in a different dimension.
3 in play.
Yeah.
Because even Andrew had his.
Well, this time I'm just going to go with 2 solid Pokemon here, that Comfey and that Radiant Greninja with that Concealed Cards ability. Great way to get through the deck early and often. You love knowing where the energies are in this deck. If you get them into the discard pile, you eventually find that Recycler or that Ordinary Rod, and you've got all the energies for Mirage Gate later on.
Now, Nicholas just writing down the info that you're going to need for a little bit later. Making sure you grab exactly what you need, and the real benefit with this deck too is you're going to be using Scoop Up Net a lot to reset your flower selectings, all that stuff. You can reset Radiant Greninja with its concealed cards as well.
Yep, we've seen players get aggressive with that and try to build up a big hand. Against Lugia, it's not always the best idea. They do play 2 copies of Marnie, and sometimes they will catch you slipping, get rid of that big hand, and really cause some disruption. But eventually you count those cards and understand that, well, we've got an opportunity to just build up the game-winning strategy right here in my hand.
I guess the one disbenefit of ordering your deck when you search is now you just have to shuffle a lot more.
That's why we give these players 75 minutes. It's definitely a tedious process that I wish we didn't always have to see, but it is good to get that information. We're going to see both players playing at their best with a full understanding of what their prize cards can be, and I don't mind losing 5 minutes if it means we're going to see great Pokemon.
Grass Energy is the discard for concealed cards, and I think it was another Comfey off the top in Colress's experiment to start things off first.
That is where you want to be here. Of course, going to be throwing away some of those cards into the lost zone, but that's exactly what you want. Trying to get at least 4 in there so you can make use of some nice chip damage with that Cramorant at some point. But the magic number for this deck is generally that 7 for Mirage Gate to start taking some knockouts.
Yeah, those magic numbers are 7, or 4, 7, and 10 for all those Lost Zone players out there. 4 with that Cramorant, and 7 with that Mirage Gate, like you said, and 10 with that Lost Mine from Sableye. Here we have the retreat to the Comfey, and Flower Selecting gets rid of the Wash energy, but does find, I think, what, Ordinary Rod?
Yeah, it looked like Ordinary Rod, and that just speaks to the understanding of the deck. It's a card that's probably going to be useless for maybe 3 or 4 turns, but when it is used, it's going to be so impactful, getting those energies back at the right time.
Does Nicholas have a way to get another Flower Selecting off this turn? If he does, but, oh, yeah, I was about to say, if he does, you can attack with that Cramorant, but just a pass of the turn, not going to be able to apply that early pressure.
Andrew's just looking at the chances. Am I really going to lose all these cards, or do I need a Marnie? Yeah, Marnie makes a lot of sense here.
Ton of energy now going to the bottom of the deck, but you kind of want them there, especially this early in the game.
No need to use the Oranguru just yet. Use it as a potential 6 card off of the Marnie. Look at, see if you can get some help here. At least finds Ultra Ball.
Gonna see a Primate Wisdom and hope to find Archeops. Oh,
wow. Okay. I see how we're playing this one.
I don't think there's a way to get 2 Archeops in the discard with the Lugia V-Star this turn. And against a deck like Lost Box, do you even really want to go for the 1 just because it's so easy for them to take it out?
Yeah, it's definitely a little bit awkward here. You could potentially see a slow turn with Read the Wind and just take the risk, hoping your opponent doesn't find a way to knock out that Lugia V. Maybe you bench the second Lugia V, but that doesn't feel too strong. It's going to be about buying time in a situation like this, unless you just do go for the 1. And I don't like that just yet.
I think with Nicholas missing the Spit Innocently last turn, you can maybe take off this turn, but it does not look like it. Ultra Ball discards that Lugia V. We're going to see that Lugia V-Star, and Summoning Star is going to just grab 1 Archeops from the discard.
I suppose in a matchup like this, if you do get to keep the single Archeops down, might just have some information on gusting counts for Nick Moffitt. And I'm not seeing
there's
the boss's order at all. So it basically just comes down to Sableye or Radiant Greninja, but we're not worried about that because Water Energy isn't in this deck. So it's just going to be the Sableye. At least means there's a few more turns of this Archeops, and it's going to take the risk.
He's still got that Raikou as well, being able to, amazing shot, put some damage on it and soften it up a little bit later. But here we see V-Guard energy and double turbo energy for the 1 primal turbo from Andrew here. We'll have the knockout on the active Comfey.
Contemplating the Luminion at this stage, and that's just a nod to the fact that you could potentially be knocked out on this turn. You want to have that Pokemon in the active spot. You almost have to telegraph which Pokemon you're going to be attacking with when you go with the single Archeops strategy, so having that Luminion down certainly does make sense. Going to go ahead and grab that Irida. Have some options on next turn.
And there is the KO on that Comfey. Nicholas now has to get to 7 in the Lost Zone to start really threatening this Lugia V-Star. And hey, started off with the Colress's Experiment. That's where you want to be.
That is a great start here. Looks like see a few energies in a quick ball, so maybe not the best cards here off the Colress's Experiment, but still do have that Comfey in the active spot. Energies can turn into cards by way of concealed cards with Radiant Greninja, and probably only need that 1 Cramorant to soften up a Lugia if you aren't going to get a knockout.
Lightning energy to join it. Taking a look, there's 3 of those, so has a little bit of play. And oh, seeing another lightning off of the top to go along with Manaphy.
There is another lightning in hand. You don't really want to throw that away, do you?
Now you do have 2 Manaphy, but it is pretty important if your opponent decides to go for that Raikou.
Oh, you look at the hand, there's so many. Scoop up net. So many cards can be played into this loss zone this turn, but these are 2 that you are definitely going to have to wonder about. Lightning energy.
Ooh.
Oh, he saw the 2 next to each other, and it felt really bad.
You're not supposed to go there.
No. That is a decision right there. Scoop up net gonna bring this other Comfy up 1 lightning energy to play this game against the lightning weak deck.
And is this another Manaphy decision?
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. He loves having the double Manaphy out and values it very highly. Why couldn't it have been that battle VIP pass we just saw? That's an easy decision.
7 now in the loss zone for Nicholas here. Has the scoop up net to have another look at the top, finds that Mirage Gate, but a Psychic Energy going by the wayside. We're running thin.
Does every Pokemon have loss provision? What's happening here? This is going to be really difficult. Raikou making its entrance. It's going to have that 1 lightning energy in the hand to help it out.
Well, there is the Mirage Gate. I'm assuming both of those, yep, going to the Raikou right there. You have that lightning in hand. As long as you have a way to get out of the active spot, you can get an amazing shot off this turn.
Yep, I believe we saw 3 scoop up net in the hand and potentially just 2 of those played this turn. So I do believe we will see the Comfey moved out of the active. Raikou making its presence known. Maybe you get some of that damage down onto the Archeops, and you've got a couple strategies to close out this game, perhaps.
There's the 1 Manaphy. You got 8
account.
now.
Says, how close am I to Sableye next turn? 8 is pretty strong. Means that you can have the Colress experiment for the next turn, but go ahead and guarantee it. Get that Comfey into the active. Use that air balloon, and when this Pokemon is knocked out, you're going to have that once more to get to the number 10.
Does bench the second one, and now we're going to see the retreat. No choice belt to try to take the knockout with this list, but you really just want to target down that Archeops.
Yeah, this feels fantastic. I don't even care. we're going to get knocked out, but Sableye can definitely be the redeemer and knock out all of these Pokemon.
Ton of supporters in hand for Andrew here, but where do you go with this?
I don't know if Irida is enough cards at this point. Serena is in the same position. This might just be a situation where you have to use Professor's Research, throw away the whole hand. But as we were talking, that is the only other copy of the Lugia V-Star. Looks like you are going to lose that Pokemon. So you're down to just those single prize Pokemon. And Nick does a pretty good job with single prize Pokemon.
I guess you can Primate Wisdom the V-Star back on top of the deck just to save an attacker, but again, not the most beneficial play here.
Right. It feels uncomfortable, as you know that it would be a very difficult Pokemon to knock out. The hit points are fantastic, and you've already seen all of this commitment to this Raikou, but gonna just forego that at this stage. Trust in the fact that you have a lot of fantastic single prize Pokemon. Manaphy is not exactly one of them, but it joins the hand regardless.
A little bit late to try to prevent that amazing shot.
Archeops is just crowing at him. Buddy, where were you?
Hand of Aurora Energies. Boss's Orders, Professor's Research. It's Primate Wisdom is the choice. Okay.
That's not the one.
Yeah, obviously it's not the one. The one's on
it's
top.
the other one, yeah. Well, not the card we're looking for, regardless. And see if this decision is made any easier by the fact that this hand didn't get better. Luminion probably going to be the recipient of an energy, but where do you put the rest of these energies as you really do want to cash in on the use of that Archeops? A card like Stoutland in this situation would have been fantastic. Just play down these energies somewhere relevant.
Gonna have to opt for maybe that Luminion on the bench. You can whap down for a couple prizes with powerful colorless energy.
Giddy up, Oranguru, it's your time.
He looks ready.
Oh yeah, he's been helping everyone else win. It's time for him to do it. Luminion generally is a good Pokemon to play these energies on, but you're just going to see those all disappear, and
no.
I like it. Andrew says, you know what? There's attack printed on this Pokemon for a reason.
He's not monkeying around, you know.
Well, it is ready to go. Even going to commit the Aurora energy at this stage.
I would prefer not to. Yeah.
And there is the knockout Tempest Dive. Going down to 4 prize cards for Andrew, but you do not like this position. I guess the one thing is there needs to be an Ordinary Rod played for a Psychic Energy. There's one in the Lost Zone, one in the discard.
Look at some additional cards. Ordinary Rod.
Oh, is that a Raihan?
Oh, no, not this decision. We had this in the game number 3 with the Raihan and the Energy Recycler. He chose wrong that time. Going to throw away the Raihan once more.
Oh, he already
has it in hand. Fantastic card.
I mean, that's why you play 3 of them.
You know, you get to throw them away at times, and it ends up being the 10th card. That has to feel pretty solid, too, for your Sableye.
And now with 2 Ordinary Rod in hand to go along with it, this game is closing fast for Andrew.
Yeah, their first game actually only went to game 2, but yeah, it felt like game 3 after a while. This is a very strong turn here. Of course, basically telegraphed by that Raikou, but being able to remove that Archeops from play, basically just going to leave a Oranguru and a couple prayers.
Here we see the Ordinary Rod. Gonna shuffle back that Raikou. Comfey and 2 energy, so you can hopefully Amazing Shot again in the following turns.
We do see that Manaphy down on the bench, but can be a relevant Pokemon, and taking a knockout on a Pokemon like a Lugia V that might try to get charged up. I could see Andrew trying to attack with anything at this point because we
obviously see that right there.
We're not finding the right Pokemon.
There's 3 energy on an Oranguru, Kyle. Anything can happen.
The last time Oranguru attacked may have been at a pre-release, but it's going to have an opportunity here as Sableye going to be placing the damage counters with Lost Mine, removing Archeops and Lugia from play.
4 damage counters left. You can put them on the Manaphy, soften them up, put them on the Luminion, but sometimes that might just go back into the deck later on. But with no Archeops, you have to feel pretty confident.
Yep, get the Oranguru in a spot where it's knocked out by a Cramorant, take your 3 prize cards. Luminion just 1 step closer to being knocked out for 2 more prizes. Nick loves adding those prize cards to the hand now. This is an uphill battle. It's going to be 4 prize cards required from Monkey and Friends.
A lot of supporters in hand for Andrew here. Has the Ultra Ball, can find maybe another attacker for next turn.
Yep, at this point, you really have everything you need, which feels sad because it's not that much. You need Pokemon and energies.
Yeah, usually they just hit the board a little faster.
Yeah, you accelerate them and do cool things. You don't want energies in the hand, but this time you do. To the point where you even throw away the professor's research. Radiant Charizard. The consideration here.
Could be a Pokemon that could maybe take a hit, depending on what Nicholas chooses to attack with. At least on the board, Cramorant could be the only option.
We already saw that Wash Energy lost, so not sure if we'd see any relevant water attack into that Pokemon. Could just play around that Pokemon too at some point. It would get stuck in the active spot. But we are going to see the energy on the Lumineon. Does not feel good, but at least we're taking a prize card.
Woo!
Nick Moffitt going to go ahead and promote that Comfy. We'll see what the plan is here. Removing these energies from play, probably step number one. You already got that locked up with the Cramorant, so the rest of the turn is pretty free to set up a game-closing strategy.
Taking a look at the resources being used by Andrew. When it gets down to this late in the game, you really need to make the perfect plays every time. And you mentioned that there earlier on in their stream match did not pick the right choice off flower selecting and was not able to close it out. Ended up both these players making top 4, so maybe it was the right choice.
Yeah, we'll see if there's a checkmate scenario that can be set up. Maybe removing the Manaphy from play with a Pokemon like Sableye, and then if you can have all of the resources for that final closeout, Raikou or something like that.
And it does look like we are going to have a pace of play warning here for Nicholas. Again, all these decisions you're trying to make, it takes a little bit of thought, especially playing through 15 rounds of Swiss, top 8, now you're in top 4.
This is actually going to be pace of play for both players.
Oh.
Just a warning here that we are looking to increase the pace of play. It's been a long game, and we did see this similarly in their round 15 experience. And of course, there are a lot of decisions to be made, but we are looking to continue the tournament along.
And we do add 2 minutes to the clock, so trying to mitigate that a little bit here. And Colress's experiment, I see quite a few energy, and the Sableye.
Wish I had the count on Andrew's Marnie's played at this point, because maybe that is some solid information for Nicholas. If he does understand that, then certainly could just set up a checkmate scenario either in the hand or on the board. The fact that it's already going to be played down on the board makes me assume that there is still a Marnie available, and Cramorant is going to go ahead and take that knockout. Get Nicholas down to 2 prize cards. Rayquaza could be the cleanup hitter.
Radiant Charizard to the active spot. And with that Aurora energy put on the top, Andrew will be able to start attacking 250 damage with Combustion Blast. And we do see the Marnie in hand, but... Oh, discard the Ultra Ball for the Aurora. Okay, we're good.
That looks much better. You lose your whole hand, grab a Pokemon, felt pretty awful at that spot. So this makes a ton of sense here.
5 cards for Andrew, 4 for Nicholas here. Bunch of energy. Serena.
It's kind of what you're looking for. Just energies to keep playing Pokemon. Perhaps that Heat Fire energy provides some additional hit points later on. We already have seen the attachment this turn with the Aurora.
I think only 1 Aurora left in deck as well, so the only energy Lumineon is able to attack with the wash going down. Well, there is the knockout, Combustion Blast. Getting rid of that Cramorant, and Nick is going to have...
That looks difficult, but you need energies if you want to keep playing this out here. You can always remove the Radiant Charizard with the Rayquaza, and then try to find an easy knockout on that Manaphy, perhaps with Sableye or that Escape Rope at some point.
Scoop up net on the active Comfy. And Mirage Gate.
Another Mirage. Is it necessary to close out here? It's going to be more important than the Oranguru.
Flower selecting yet again. All right, that one's easy. Battle VIP pass to the Lost Zone. You can concealed cards here. Energy Recyclers, that's the card needed.
Absolutely huge here. You see in this absolute wild pile of a discard that there is plenty of energies to choose from. Gonna almost take the entire rainbow, but 2 fightings now gonna be grabbed to potentially help out with Rayquaza getting in a second attack off at some point.
Well, there is that first Mirage Gate here this turn for Nicholas. Now that Rayquaza is fully powered up, can take the knockout on the Radiant Charizard. And that means just one more KO for Nicholas to take this first game here in top 4.
Feels inefficient as you're going to be taking a huge knockout here on this single prize Pokemon, but your opponent's strategy at this point is attack with Lumineon. It's got a double turbo on it. It's not really doing too much here, so you probably do feel fairly comfortable here committing these resources.
Switch cart is the switch out of choice, and this is gonna be pretty clean, taking the knockout. Andrew not having much else. Amazing burst, dealing a ton of damage. Aurora energy off the top, but like you said, that double turbo energy is preventing the KO here, and we need to go to a game 2.
I mean, it lines up for the Manaphy knockout later.
Yeah,
we're looking at all the options at this stage, and there's not much left. Capture energy in the hand, perhaps could find a different Pokemon to try to buy time with. We do know that Nicholas held on to that escape rope as a switching out, which could certainly bring up a Pokemon to close the game out on. So we do see Andrew gonna commit some of these Vs down to play.
you're so close to 2 prize cards left, but it feels, at least looking at the way the board has been, you're so far away.
Gonna add the supporter for the following turn. Big Serena triple discard just to draw 2.
Oh, the capturing aroma. I told you it's going to be beneficial.
Here it goes. Heads.
Heads. Get an evolution Pokemon, exactly what you need right now.
It could even be Lugia V-Star.
No, that's in the discard.
Maybe next time we just put it in the list. Yep, this is going to be that Aurora energy played down onto the other Lumineon, trying to set up that Pokemon for a 120 knockout at some point. Let's see if this Lumineon can stick around. Andrew has to promote the only Pokemon with enough hit points. We'll see what resources are here.
Grass energy found. It's one step, but I don't think there's a lightning left, so you need to find something like that Ordinary Rod or Sableye to take this game out.
Yep, Radiant Greninja could use that additional energy right now to concealed cards.
Ordinary Rod, and there we go. Even the Raihan, for good measure.
Well, you gotta take knockouts for Raihan to be good.
Oh, I guess that was...
Andrew hasn't done much of anything yet.
Well, fine. You got the Ordinary Rod.
That's a good card.
But he did discard the Grass energy, so has the Psychic in hand. I don't know if he has it this turn.
Yeah, he was banking on the Sableye as the easier find and doesn't have that. But second Mirage Gate definitely does the job here. Going to go ahead, an amazing burst, and take game number 1.
Nicholas Moffitt proving that Lost Box still has some play against Lugia in this Lugia-infested top 8.
Yeah, that's it's definitely a wild way to close things out. You think about the resource management that Andrew had to do. It was so difficult, and it really just came down to that opening turn where, well, the second turn where he decided that 1 Archeops was going to be enough. There was a potential there to play down the second Lugia and use Read the Wind, get one of those Archeops in the discard pile, and you'll have that the turn 3 set up. But is that too many V Pokemon down on the board? Probably.
Yeah. We only can talk about basically what happened, and what happened was Nicholas was able to navigate that game pretty much perfectly, taking the 2-hit knockout essentially on the lone Archeops, and now just 1 more game away from a finals here in Orlando.
Yep, that took a good chunk of the time that we had here, almost half an hour to get through this opening game here.
Looking like a mulligan from Nicholas here. And
got a little stalemate going on, but yeah, this is Andrew does have a Pokemon to start the game off here. going to get the news that he has an additional card to start off game 2.
A little bit more discussion going on. Well, we at least get to take a look at the prizes for Andrew here. A few search cards. I mean, when you're playing so many, they're bound to end up in the prize cards. 1 Aurora Energy and that second Luminion B.
Yep, we're not going to see the chaining together, which
Oh.
occasionally helps. Oh, my
oh.
goodness. Ordinary Rod in combination with 4 basic energies. 2
All right, well-
fightings, and I'm going to just let the cat out of the bag. That's all of the fightings.
Well, let's we're having a good game 3, right?
You know what? I'm not going to count Nick out of anything just yet. We'll see for ourselves, but that is going to be quite the opening search here for Nick.
Andrew's going to start things off with a quick ball, discarding that Archeops. So already at parity for last game, the one in the discard. Can find that Lugia V, get an energy on it, and pass the turn back. I really don't think there's much else in the hand for Andrew here.
You're not asking for too much on this opening turn. It really is just having that Lugia hang out for that one turn so that on turn 2 you can get that Summoning Star rolling. We've seen players throw away plenty of cards and worry about Marnie, and that's not something that you think about from your opponent when they're playing this Lost Box deck. So you can really just keep a lot of cards close to the chest and surprise them on turn 2.
Get those notes down. Most likely it was just Aurora.
We'll see what else is found out here. Going to play it a little bit quicker. As soon as you get a pace of play warning,
It's always scary.
You start to just play cards quick. It's I'm not taking 2 prize penalty in this spot.
I'm just trying to save time.
Just trying to save time. And you heard Andrew, and I appreciate it. It's been a long weekend.
Yep. We'll find out the rest of those cards.
Heat, Fire,
in some
Energy
future searches.
on the Lugia. Pass the turn.
All right, Kofi going to start things off here. Double scoop up net. I would suggest not using that just yet, but we'll see what Nick thinks.
Nick there bluffing, making it seem like it's a decision.
Yeah, understandably so. And Colruy's Experiment going to be adding some cards into the hand. 2 grass energies.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Did we see the flower selecting before the Colruy's Experiment?
Yeah,
This is
I'm-
it used to be a hotly debated topic in the Pokemon community of which one is optimal.
Potential uproar scenario.
Cramorant in the lost zone now, along with the grass energy. And Nick still hasn't done a deck search yet. And with the way his hand is, I don't think he can.
What is that, triple Mirage with a couple energies and a scoop up net? He doesn't even have another Comfey.
Yeah, I didn't know we were in a desert, and Nick is looking for an oasis here. Flower selecting, finds the Radiant Greninja, but you have to give up the Galarian Zigzagoon.
Seems like a fair trade-off here. Radiant Greninja going to try to draw into some more help, and at least has a chorus for next turn, but that's gonna be it.
Possibility to lose your only Comfey here. Professor's research off the top to go along with the Marnie in hand, but you have to kind of think, especially with starting the Raikou, you kind of want to save those Aurora.
Yep, and that's the decision here is, can we go ahead and afford to lose that? Can I play down one of those Auroras for the turn and lose another one and use that Professor's research? Benching the Stoutland early doesn't always feel correct either, so certainly some merit to both plays here. I think I am leaning towards the Professor's research at this point, and you could just Aurora the other Aurora and play down the Stoutland and just get aggressive. Your opponent didn't show you too much, and you could make a quick game of it.
I think he may have heard you come. Oh, no. All right.
Gonna split. That's understandable too. You're gonna have to likely play down one energy this turn regardless. If you do miss the Archeops, which certainly could happen in this point of the game with the way things have gone for Andrew. And at least we'll have a knockout on the Comfey lined up.
Well, that is a terrible hand. Double Serena, Choice Belt, Marnie for next turn, and that Radiant Charizard. Andrew's not going to do much anything else. You can Summoning Star, but again, for one Archeops, is it worth it?
That's the spot we're in once more. He's going to have to go for it.
Oh, no.
Gonna go find 2 more of these colored energies to go along with this too. We already see the 1 Aurora, the heat fire down. 2 Auroras gonna be committed.
And the fact that Nick had the Manaphy in hand, didn't need to search for it, especially when your opponent starts with this setup. Like it's.
Yeah, this is pretty terrifying. Thankfully, going to avoid the 2 prize cards exchanged here. Manaphy protecting from that Raiko's amazing shot. That's why you play 2 Manaphies, I guess.
I guess, yeah. See it a lot more of the time. Going to start things off with Kolish's experiment. No Comfey on Nicholas's side of the board just yet. Oh, those 2 Battle Pass can go right away.
Yep. Love to see that there. Quick Ball in combination with that scoop up net should likely lead to the 7th card into the Lost Zone by way of a Comfey. A little bit unfortunate that the Cramorant has to be in the active spot to start this turn, and we'll see what cards are potentially found here with the Radiant Greninja in the future. But going to start with the Quick Ball first.
Well, more flower selecting is always good, especially when you're trying to hit that 7 number in that Lost Zone. And I think this is the first search for Nick here, and is going to be receiving a lot of bad news.
Just hold up.
Oh, wait. I play more than 4 energy in this deck.
You got to be kidding me, right? Am I holding them in my hand? No?
No?
Oh.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. Oh, 5 in one hand. All right.
Yep, the prizes are going to have to be helpful for Nicholas, and he's going to get the bad news again when he starts drawing those, because they were all 4 at the top. So the flow chart to taking these prize cards definitely going to be a little different here.
Just bad news all around for Nicholas here. I guess the one good part is he did win game 1.
Yay.
And you do have the knockout on the Raikou there.
We'll see what else can be accomplished on this turn. Start thinking about having an answer to this Lugia in the future, and that is an uphill battle when you don't have those energies.
Oh, let's get rid of another one. Concealed cards will draw a Raihan off the top for Nicholas, so could just be another way to reuse some of these energies that are so precious to him right now. Ordinary Rod in hand as well. Opts to play it now, get full value out of it. Metal and the Lightning, but that does turn off the Raihan later on at least until you get another one in the discard.
Looks like we are going to see that Comfey there. And the decision is to be made now. Do you continue to press your luck? You do have some ways to continue and draw some cards, but this does make sense. Just go ahead and remove that Pokemon from play. Cash in on the Cramorant already being in the active spot, and maybe Comfey helps you get to 10 later on.
Evolution Incense to start things off. Pretty much useless right now. Able to thin the deck out of an Archeops or Lugia V-Star.
Who do you think is favored at this point, Jeremy? Because I'm having an internal struggle trying to figure it out. I see one Archeops, and I am absolutely terrified for Andrew. But I also have all the information Nicholas does after that initial deck search, and that scares me too.
Can both of them be unfavored? Is that a possibility here?
We'll check the statistician and see if that's a thing. But for now, Andrew is going to try to make this work. Has some supporter choices here. Could just go with that Marnie. It's going to be the second one. We have mentioned before that being able to build up a good pile of cards in the hand is something that Nicholas loves to do throughout the game. And he has permission to do so as early as turn 3 now.
Colress's experiment off those 4 cards for Nicholas, so at least has some game plan for next turn. Second Lugia V, possibly down on the bench. You also have Stoutland in hand, Capture Energy, and Ultra Ball. So a lot of Pokemon.
Yep. The rest of the hands, it's going to be that that Ultra Ball that could potentially find the little Minion later on. So certainly not a dead hand just yet. And with the attachment of the Capture, you have to expect that the double Turbo, along with another energy, will be able to take the knockout here with Lugia V-Star.
Andrew remembering last game saying, I'm going to probably get this Manaphy in play now before it's not going to do its job.
Yeah, that guy beat up my Archeops last time. I'm not letting that happen. If you are going to do that, you better get to 10 cards in the Lost Zone and do it admirably with 2 Sableyes.
35 minutes to go in this top 4 match. Andrew now down to 4 prize cards, and Nicholas is going to have to put in a lot of work, but now just 1 flower selecting away from turning on all those Mirage Gates. Starting things off with the concealed cards. Easy flower selecting there. Grab Sableye to the hand. Oh, Comfey.
Finds another Mirage Gate.
I think he had the same decision last game, Mirage Gate Oranguru. It worked out for him, but you still hate to see it.
We do see the escape rope as an option to potentially move this Comfey once more, get a couple cards, or you can just use those Mirage Gates with that Rayquaza.
Here we see the Quick Ball discard Battle VIP pass.
I mean, Rayquaza isn't even doing much of anything, right? You need that fighting energy.
Yeah.
Both of those are in the prize cards.
This is such an awkward position from Nicholas here, because you don't even want to scoop, because you won game 1, and as long as this game keeps going a little bit slower, your opponent has 1 Archeops, so you can have some play to it.
Sableye going to be the choice. We did see Psychic Energy was pitched earlier with the concealed cards.
Listen, Kyle, you can't get picky. There's not much energy left. you got to use what you have.
That is so true. Nick just not finding the right cards at the right time here. Looking for Colress Experiment would probably be the #1 selection if he were to find it soon.
I think maybe Raihan is an option as well, but the Colress has been in the hand since the beginning of the turn.
Let's go ahead and use it. Obviously, thinks that those experiments should wait before the Comfeys, and it's going to give a lot of.
Can we just put all 5 of these cards in the hand?
Yep.
Like, is that? This is an insane 5 cards. Energy Recycler, Ordinary Rod, Raihan, I believe Mirage Gate, and Colress's Experiment.
That is pretty solid here. We'll see what is valued most. Colress Experiment going to be tossed here because you're going to be able to hold on to all of these cards. You've already hit the magic 10.
Mirage Gate almost played without the Sableye down. I guess that would signal attempt at trying to attack with Rayquaza, but we know that's not going to work. Well, there is the escape rope, and this will provide a little bit more disruption on Nicholas's side of things, but
it's going to be the Manaphy up into the active spot here. And that might be the green light here to promote the Sableye. Not sure if Nicholas is trying to sneak in 1 final flower selecting this turn. Looks like he is going to.
All right.
Definitely understandable, as you do have that Mirage Gate. Can give you access to the energy for the Sableye and the energy for retreating the Comfey.
Energy recycler for 1.
You gotta be kidding me.
All right, we're doing it.
That's what you gotta do. Yep, this is Pokemon, and it is very difficult at sometimes. Sure enough, it's gonna be the right line to target down that Archeops. We've seen so many resources tossed already. Ordinary Rod down. Energy Recycler.
Down.
It's gonna leave. It's gonna leave one final Ordinary Rod, and the Rhyhorns.
No, the Ordinary Rod's in the discard already.
Well, there's 2 of them.
Yeah, one in the lost zone, one in the discard.
Oh, there's in the lost zone, of course. Yeah, so it's gonna be the Rhyhorn that's gonna have to continue to bring that psychic energy back up, unless it is eventually found.
My, oh my, what an awkward game to navigate for this Lost Box. You do have Lost Mine active now, so taking the knockout on the Manaphy, rest of the damage on that Archeops on the bench. I guess not the rest, 3.
Yep, just trying to math this out, see what makes the most sense here.
I mean, I think it's probably just on the Lugia V because the lack of V-stars in the list.
Yep.
And again, misses the energy. Oh.
That is not okay.
Trust me.
All right. Andrew is going to have one more turn here with that Archeops, at least. So we could see a commitment here to the Pokemon that he's looking to potentially close out with. Lugia V-Star is found with that Ultra Ball.
Still in the deck. Hey, who needs 3, right?
Yeah, now we got a Capturing Aroma that can help us find something else.
Stoutland hitting the board as well. And here's that Professor's Research. 7 cards. Powerful colorless energy could be a good one to start charging up that Stoutland V as things get going. Still have access to the Primal Turbo as well.
You would think that powerful energies on Stoutland eventually is going to see some play here at some point. It's just such a strong play against the Lost Zone decks. Of course, you do worry about being targeted down at some point, but there's a pretty good target in that Archeops still left.
And honestly, with the way Nicholas has played this game, you have to expect there's a lot of energies prized if you're on Andrew's side of the things.
I mean, Andrew has basically gotten this to a point where Archeops isn't even a good target anymore. The prize cards, it's 4-4 at this stage. All the energies are already down right now. If these Pokemon continue to attack, you have to deal with them.
And that is when you're definitely going to have to deal with Stoutland V with 2 powerful colorless energies. Does 80 damage, taking an extra prize on this Sableye here.
I love this.
We're going for it, yeah. Sensing the weakness, no energy in the deck to attack with Rayquaza. And this game could be over even faster now.
Yep. I mean, how do you deal with this Pokemon? 210 hit points, and you're not going to find anything with weakness involved here. You don't have access with the fighting energy for the Rayquaza.
I know one way to get it off board, and that is by scooping up your cards for game 3.
Ooh, okay. Well, we will look out for that, but until then, is there anything left here? It's going to have to be some chip damage, and if you're doing that, you're still going to have to deal with...
Yep,
moving on to game 3.
I was about to say, maybe one more look at the deck before the scoop comes, but Nicholas seeing it there, there's just no way to respond to a Stoutland V. We've seen a lot of Lost Box decks try to answer that Pokemon in which is essentially every Lugia deck is playing Stoutland V except for the Green VMAX.
Yep. Yeah, we've seen some players decide to go with just plain some more Vs in their deck. They have that Raikou V that occasionally can be an answer there. The Dragonite V has a solid solution to remove that Pokemon from play, and doesn't really have that resource built in. It's fully dedicated to the Rayquaza, and rightfully so. It is your answer in so many matchups to having that no damage cap potential, and just doesn't have the energies there. And that doesn't happen too often when you prize both of the single energy that you needed to get the job done. And it's just a little bit awkward, but you hope to not see that in game number 3 now.
Yeah, and one of your 2 psychics as well.
Yeah, the damage potential for Nicholas was immediately capped when we saw the 6 prize cards. And he almost made a game of it. Andrew just had that single Archeops once more. And this hasn't gone the best for either player, and
yeah,
I'm excited to see if they have one good game left in it for game 3, as I'm sure both these decks would like to shine one more time.
Listen, there's been 4 games between these players so far. Maybe the 5th game, both players will be completely set up, and we're going to have that amazing game that we all want.
We shall see. Just 2 energies.
Much better.
Polar's Experiment at the bottom. Yep, that is certainly some solid prize cards there.
All right, I think we're going to get a game.
It's looking pretty strong here. Both players give the nod. We're moving on to game number 3 now. Nicholas going to be starting things off here. And I don't know if this is exactly the pop-off hand here, Jeremy.
No, not really. Not starting that comfy hurts this deck so much. You have less access to your flower selectings early, and because of that, your whole game plan is essentially a turn later. Now, with the Quick Ball, does discard the Ordinary Rod. So again, this deck is all about resource management, and a lot of decks in this format are, but Lost Box specifically, because you can just get rid of cards where you cannot see them again, and having that Ordinary Rod down already is definitely scary.
Yeah, started with both in the hand there. So losing one early, felt comfortable with it, but looks through, sees all the energies to work with, and that's a lot more than last game, I'll tell you that much.
An embarrassment of riches for sure. Now with the Rayquaza in the active spot, it is 2 retreat, so you'd love to have something like a Scoop Up Net, Escape Rope, or that Air Balloon to get it out of the active spot, but honestly, with Nicholas's hand, I don't know if I saw any of those.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we saw those either. It's we do see the Coldest Experiment that's going to be used on the following turn. Could at least get some of these cards into the Lost Zone, but if you can't get a single card into the Lost Zone on the opening turn, it almost guarantees that you're at least on the path for a turn 3 Mirage Gate, which is vastly different when you're playing against a deck that's as strong and fast as Lugia.
It's looking like Nicholas is going to try to make the best of it here. But you can tell by the body language. Could have been better.
Well, Andrew on the other side looking confident, and rightfully so. Looks like a pretty solid hand to go with this, but it's going to be the 1 card here. Scoop Up Net and Energy. Those do not really progress this board.
Really needed to find something like the Battle VIP pass there. Did not. Grass Energy on the Rayquaza on the bench. And now, wow, looking at Andrew's hand, this is looking like maybe a double Archeops game.
This is looking much better than the other games before. We do see that Lugia V-Star already in the hand. We know that there's 2 copies, and he does see the second one there. So permission is granted if you want to go ahead and use that Professor's Research, but we have seen some players be a little wary of that.
Well, especially with the few energy in hand for Andrew. You got, or I guess just the 1 Aurora, but you do have that Lugia V-Star. So with only 2 copies, it could be a little dangerous to discard it. It's going to find that Archeops off the Evolution Incense, though, and we're going to see these Ultra Balls put to good work, grabbing another Archeops and getting that in the discard as well.
Yep, this leaves an opportunity to maybe use that Aurora energy. There is also that Ultra Ball that could be potentially used before the Professor's research. And you have to think that getting both these Archeops into this discard pile is at least the opening part of this plan.
Now, Ultra Ball, I think I'd love to see a Rangaroo here, Primate Wisdom, that Lugia V-Star to the top.
That's exactly what we're looking for.
And this has been a picture-perfect turn from Andrew here. With no Lost Zone cards really on Nicholas's side of things, you're not really threatening the Rayquaza.
Yeah, if Cramorant ends up being the second turn attack, you're more than happy to take that. We're going to see the Lugia V-Star placed on the top now, and Quick Ball going to be the discard. Very solid opener here with the Lugia V deck, and the only question now is, do you find a second Lugia? Do you feel like you even need to play it in this spot? And there's going to be a little bit of hesitation there.
A lot of the times, though, it's a pretty good attacker in this Lost Box matchup. You have the extra HP that Lugia V-Star provides, and you're going to be giving up 2 prizes most of the time anyway with stuff like Sableye, so might as well just play it safe. Nicholas starting off here with the Colress's Experiment. We knew that was in the hand, and looking at some 5 cards.
Yeah, Lost Box just feels like a completely different deck when you don't have any of those Battle VIP passes early on. You know that you're probably going to be running into cards like that, or situations like this with the Colress's Experiment where you could take some resources, but it's just an additional flower selecting, and you're trying to chain together all the pieces once more, and it just takes 2 bad cards to completely end your turn.
A little bit of a decision here for Nicholas as well. You have a couple switching options in those 5 cards to go along with a Grass Energy and I think a Mirage Gate.
Yep.
And the Quick Ball. Oh, so just the switch card, but yeah.
Starting to worry about pace of play once more, but
that is true. Yeah, both of these players have been penalized for their pace of play in this top 4 match. Mirage Gate and the Grass Energy into the Lost Zone. And here, wow. Oh, no.
Why? Stop it. Every time that he wants to do something aggressive, you give him the most important card to close out the game.
This is the one kind of drawback to playing a deck like Lost Boxes. You have these awkward decisions that you have to make, and it won't come back to bite you until 3 or 4 turns later.
Oop, I needed that. We will see, though. Does make sense for now, at least. There was the Quick Ball in the hand, so additional Comfey potentially ready there, or you can go for this Radiant Greninja if that's available.
Cramorant as well. You are at 4.
Yeah, you have to think that more cards is certainly solid at this stage of the game. You need to get to at least 7 on the turn 3. Once more faced with a difficult decision. If you want to be able to attack, you're going to need those Mirage Gates. You can't have 2 in the Lost Zone.
Can use the energy to retreat, get another flower selecting off, but you kind of need 2 cards at this point. And here, do you want to send the 4th Comfey to the Lost Zone? No. Psychic Energy. Oh.
It's going to be card number 6 added. Comfey dropped as well. We have already seen the retreat, so that's going to be the pass of the turn. It's a fairly weak turn 2, but he's trying his best over there is Nick, and Andrew is going to try to get things rolling now. Has everything required with that Summoning Star. The Archeops are there. With that Lugia already benched, maybe the inclusion of a Manaphy soon to the board would be a great addition.
Andrew basically has been playing this entire match at 50% power. Now full access to basically everything you want to do with a Lugia deck. Both Archeops on the bench. Now you get a Primal Turbo, get things set up, and things are going to start rolling and getting out of hand pretty fast for Nicholas.
Yep. Oh, this deck is so much better now. look at all these cool things I can do.
You mean I could do this?
I can charge this Lugia up in one turn.
It's looking like Primal Turbo is going to find the double turbo and a capture energy here. And then just with an energy attachment from hand, Lugia V-Star will be able to take a knockout with Tempest Dive. And you still have another Primal Turbo available.
Yep. Irida going to be the supporter of choice here. Manaphy already thought of as a great Pokemon to potentially add to the board here. Could avoid some awkward situations later on with that extra damage on the Lugia V-Star. Those hit points are so crucial, as you know your opponent is not playing the choice belt. So any residual damage left over definitely lines up for a knockout.
Perfect wash energy on the Manaphy from the second Primal Turbo. This is going to shut off Lost Mine from actually being able to take a knockout on the Manaphy on the bench. That means your bench is pretty well protected the entire game.
Yep, lines up for the Rain Splash pretty well, but we won't see that here. We're going to go ahead and take that knockout with the Lugia V-Star. And one Comfy down, one in the Lost Zone. Two more going to try to get to 7 and maybe 10 eventually, but 7. It's pretty easy there with that Battle VIP pass.
All right, things are starting to look a little bit better now for Nicholas. At least you have access to Mirage Gate, albeit usually a turn later. And here we see Raihan getting that fighting energy to the Rayquaza. Will be able to grab a switch out here. And again, just counting the energies for the Mirage Gates in hand. You will be able to take a knockout with the 2 extra energy.
Yep, this works out pretty well. Have that Mirage Gate ready to go there. Get the 4 energies onto the Rayquaza. Going to be dealing plenty of damage to work your way through that Lugia V-Star. Just need that switching out. And I believe it was that air balloon that was grabbed, which can be a solid benefit later on in the game. Pokemon do fly off the board left and right in these Lost Zone Toolbox decks.
There is that air balloon retreat to the Rayquaza. Amazing burst, dealing 80 damage for each different basic energy type you discard with the attack. And that is plenty to knock out this Lugia V-Star.
Yep, this is the reach that Nicholas has been looking for in the game, basically the whole match. Just trying to remove these huge V and V-Star Pokemon from play. Finally has the resources there. Had to sacrifice a lot to get to this stage, but I think he was able to hold on to enough to potentially chain together a few of these.
Archeops in the active for Andrew and has quite a few supporters to choose from for this turn. Even the Lumineon to maybe search something out. Could be a good attacker to clean up the Rayquaza as well.
Yep, Lumineon has always been a pretty solid choice here. To remove the Rayquaza after this, and then you can have that single prize Pokemon in the active spot. Not have to worry about losing any of those energies other than the one that you use to retreat.
Serena is the grab off this Luminous Sign here for Andrew. Not going to have much use in gusting up any benched Pokemon V, but will be able to at least filter the hand out a little bit.
Take an eye at the clock here. 13.5 minutes to go here. Prize cards 5-4. So could actually see 75 minutes not be enough potentially in this game, which is an absurdity.
Echoing Horn. Now the bench is full for Nicholas and Marnie. So all the supporters going to the bottom of the deck for Andrew here, but hoping to see a good set of 5 cards. And more importantly, getting that disruption off against Nicholas.
Yep, always nice to limit the hand size here. Remove this one big threat here in the Rayquaza. Does have the energy in hand, so can potentially find some way to deal with this Rayquaza too. Not sure if you even just attack with the Archeops at this stage, or if you want to just work in that Lumineon once more.
Heat Fire on the active. That will allow you to pivot and get this Archeops out of the way for a little bit now. Third energy on that Lumineon V on the bench, so we can see this Aqua return for the KO. And again, you have to promote another Pokemon.
Yep, every time that you do this, you will be losing 1 energy to the retreat, but of course, you place so many energies in the deck, 16, and it does end up working out for you. Just go ahead and lose one of those and trade it for a prize card. Eventually, you're going to end up coming out on top and have enough cards to close out.
Primate Wisdom, Archeops back on top of the deck. Oh yeah, Capturing Aroma.
That is definitely a card. And we will see the Lumineon shuffled back into the deck by way of the Aqua return. It's going to take these prize cards to tied now, 4-4. Nicholas going to be facing down a single prize Pokemon in that Oranguru. And now we'll see what the prize map looks like here for Nick. Of course, going to be trying to increase the size of that lost zone, sitting at just 7 right now, to at least 10, and Colress Experiment, a great way to do just that.
Going to be looking at 5 cards off the top here. Getting 2 in the lost zone, needs just 1 more, but with Flower Selecting, you actually reach that number.
Just looking at the cards played there. See, it looks like 4 energies that are already in the discard pile. Of course, the 1 on the Manaphy, so plenty to work with still.
I just want to see both players play faster. I do not want this game to end off of a penalty.
Yep, that's something to be looking out for. Just the time in general is also something to be worried about here, as we are closely approaching that 10-minute mark.
I think what was Hisuian Heavy Ball played, or? Yeah. All right.
Good old shuffle of the prize cards. We'll see how those end up falling there. Watch Energy and Escape Rope going to be the 2 sitting at the bottom there to potentially be added to the hand soon, as Nicholas should be continuing to take prize cards throughout this point of the game. Cramorant going to be added down, which is not a knockout, but maybe that's the point. As going to leave this Oranguru in the active spot and maybe clean that up later on.
You do have access to Galarian Zigzagoon with its Headbutt Tantrum. Get that last 10 damage for the knockout. But what this does is kind of strand Andrew in the active a little bit. It's 2 energy to retreat the Oranguru. That's not for nothing.
Yeah, that's a great point. We've got to think about that. Would mean that Double Turbo would likely be one of the energies to move this Pokemon.
And we know there's still 1 in the prize cards.
And there is 1 in the discard pile.
That is both of them.
that definitely means the resources would be used in order to move this Pokemon. You do have the option to play some of your powerful energies on this and take the knockout on the Cramorant.
All right, Capturing Aroma, search for an evolution. Needed the tails there.
Yeah, the one time you want to get unlucky, I suppose. Go ahead and get a bird for your trouble.
We'll be able to discard this Archeops with the Quick Ball in hand, though. So, hey, best of both worlds. And thinning the deck out of an Archeops that you don't need.
I guess that's a way to look at it, yes.
You got to look at the bright side of everything, Kyle, especially when you're playing such beautiful cards like Capturing Aroma, you know?
Oh, I'm looking at the other cards in Andrew's hands. I do see that Stoutland, and I'm waiting for it to eventually find a good time to make an appearance. I'm not sure if that's just yet. Serena is going to try to draw some beneficial cards here. Finds Powerful Energy. Has not made use of Primate Wisdom yet. Might be the last turn for that.
I think the debate here is if Andrew really wants to commit those 3 energies to taking a knockout with Oranguru. You either do that and lose the 3, or you lose 2 right now and try to have a different attacker.
We're going to lose 1 with the Quick Ball. Andrew's going to continue to look for Pokemon to help out here. Lumineon V has been the MVP so far, as it can continually remove these small hit point Pokemon on the other side of the board and continue to keep those energies in the deck.
Important to note, too, that the supporter was already played in this arena, so benching the Lumineon would kind of shut the door for Stoutland a little bit. But I guess with no gust effect on Nicholas's side of things, it's a little bit safer.
Going to see if there's any other supporter potentially. It's going to be that Professor's Research added to the hand now. Going to take a peek at the energy options. We do see the powerful energy. It's going to be played on the Lumineon. Yeah, got excited for a second. Maybe a Rangaroo was going to do some work, but not just yet.
And honestly, with that, do we even see? We're probably just going to see a pass.
Well, we see the second Primal Turbo now, so that's going to grab the capture energies for the retreat. And the powerful energy. It's going to be played onto the Lumineon. Wanted to go ahead and put that Stoutland back into the deck. Has the Quick Ball if eventually Andrew wants to go and bring that back out, but it's nice to have that opportunity to maybe grab Lumineon as well in that situation. So going to keep the options open as we do reach under 6 minutes in this match here.
Insane to think about. Both these players have been thinking through a ton of plays, and you have to. You're in top 4. One mistake could spell doom. And Andrew now 3 prizes to Nicholas's 4, bringing the Oranguru back up to the active. You're kind of in the same position again if Nicholas goes for something like Sableye.
Well, you look at potential targets for Sableye to knock out, and there's not really some great options. So Rangaroo could be the recipient of one of those damage counters, and then where do you place the rest? So you have to think maybe that's a Clarion Zigzagoon strategy.
Easy decision. Battle VIP pass to the Lost Zone.
That's the kind of pace of play we're looking for. Rayquaza is going to be played down at this point. Filling the bench, there is the Clarion Zigzagoon, so maybe Scoop Up Net is available at some point, or just wants to hold on to a way to knock that Pokemon out later on.
That deck is getting pretty thin on resources here. I see the one Ordinary Rod. Had to discard the one turn 1. Can find any card here with the Raihan.
It's a tricky spot once more. Trying to conserve the resources in order to have the options to maybe take one big knockout on that remaining Lugia V-Star. You have to think that eventually 280 hit points will have to be dealt with if you want to close out this game. And we see the Compe going to be promoted. You have to think that that means a Scoop Up Net is going to be available. Yeah, it looks like that was the card grabbed off the Raihan. That's a fantastic choice. Go ahead and pick that Compe up, have that additional spot open for the Galarian Zigzagoon to take the knockout.
Again, okay. Sableye off the top. You have the Psychic in hand. Scoop Up Net. Did Nicholas already retreat with the Air Balloon? I believe so, right?
I think so as well.
So I think you're kind of locked into taking the knockout on the Rangaroo with Headbutt Tantrum, taking the knockout with Rayquaza on whatever is promoted, and then you have to hope to cobble together another amazing burst the following turn.
Yep, being stuck with this Rayquaza as the Pokemon to attack with this turn could be a little bit awkward. The Manaphy promotion certainly does see that as that's a lot of resources to deal with this Pokemon. 3 energies, Mirage Gate. And how do you close out on the Lugia if you do not have those resources once more?
There is the last ordinary rod here. I actually don't remember if Energy Recycler is still available for Nicholas, but I guess we'll see in a little bit.
I think I saw it in the deck through the search. But there are also 2 Mirage Gate in the hand, so at least one of those will be used now for the Rayquaza.
2 minutes left to go in our top 4 match. This has been a little too long with you here, Kyle.
You know, we're of course going to try to give it our all here. This has been absolutely an Olympic match, just back and forth, trying to get through all of these hoops to close out. Both players really just not being dealt exactly what they needed, but this game has been pretty strong here in game number 3 now.
A grip of cards here for Nicholas, but I'm not sure if there's going to be much variety. And still has not attached the energy for turn. Remember, the grass energy was from the Raihan. Then the fighting and lightning were from that Mirage Gate. So energy on the Comfey to have another retreat option the following turn, and amazing burst taking the knockout. I'm sorry, Kyle, but the Manaphy has to go to the discard now.
No. Yeah, that definitely is an overcommitment, but you have to take your prizes at this stage of the game. Under a minute left to go. Nicholas going to be taking that prize. Needs 2 more to close things out here. You have to think that the game plan is amazing burst, 4 energies potentially onto a knockout to get that Lugia V-Star off the board. But are the resources there to do that?
I think we're going to be seeing Arceus maybe starting to switch into that attacking role here. Only gives up 1 prize and it still deals enough damage to take a knockout on pretty much anything Nicholas can put up. But if you lose both of those, you're going to be done anyway, so might as well.
Stoutland at the top of the deck once more, looking through.
2 powerful energy, 3 powerful energy. Does Andrew have access to all 4?
We see that Lugia also potentially moved up. That is going to be time in the round. Amazingly enough, Andrew going to be turn 0.
Lugia V to the hand with this quick ball. Ultra Ball getting rid of it and the boss's orders.
You already have the Pokemon that you want to deal with in the active position. Removing that Rayquaza seems like the right choice.
Is there any point where you go, if there is 4 powerful Colas, do you go all 4 on the Stoutland and just take the 2 prizes off the Rayquaza now?
Yeah, I think so. And if your opponent could knock out a Lugia, then they could probably, I mean, if they could knock out a Stoutland, they may have been able to knock out a Lugia. The difference in that situation is that it only requires 1 less Mirage Gate onto the Rayquaza. Also, it activates that Raihan potential, as you don't have to bring the Pokemon into the active position. The V is already handed to you.
Oh, no. Professor's research. Andrew draws a powerful colorless energy here, so I think is just going to have to attack with the Archeops, take the prize here, and hope to find the boss's orders to seal the victory with Stoutland.
Looks like looking through the rest of the cards too, it's just that single Aurora energy left in the deck, and Radiant Charizard also there. So plenty of ways to continue to draw prizes after this, but well,
there's a boss's orders left in the deck.
I definitely agree with having a single prize Pokemon in the active spot at this stage of the game. You want to make sure that your opponent is attacking into a different Pokemon. You don't want to have a V in the active with a Raihan available.
Honestly, I think Andrew might have things kind of locked up. You see that Luminion V in hand, double turbo found off the prizes as well. So with the boss's orders in deck and the Primal Turbo available to you, you have every piece you need.
Radiant Charizard still in the prize cards, but plenty of attacking power here available with that Archeops and that Stoutland. Quick Ball going to find the Rayquaza here for Nicholas on turn 1 of time. Of course, time rules here. We're going to have +3 turns now, so.
Yeah, there's no ties here.
Got to find a winner.
I think Andrew has this locked up.
Maybe. We shall see. With the time rules, it might get interesting, as this is turn 1, so Nick does have the final turn to try to close this out. But yeah, if the boss's orders is used at the right time, you'd think that is going to be helpful for Andrew.
Essentially, if there's one more energy in the deck, because you can't attach that double turbo, that lowers your damage output. You won't be able to take the one-hit knockout on any of those bench Pokemon with 60 damage. But if you have something else,
yeah, there's
like
an
that
Aurora
powerful,
energy.
yeah, the Aurora, that should be it. I think we've seen too many scoop-up nets from Nicholas to kind of clear the bench out.
Kofe is going to continue to draw through with that flower selecting. Escape Rope going to be the choice here, and there is thankfully a single prize Pokemon available in that other Archeops.
I think that just seals it too, right? Because now you have the Archeops as, or well, 2 prizes left, but I think this is over.
That's the situation we're running into right now. Is yes, Andrew will be able to easily find an additional prize card and get himself down to 1, and Nicholas has those 2 remaining. If there's a combination that involves getting a V Pokemon off the board, then certainly you have that play, but not sure if he's able to bring a V into the active spot. Don't think so.
Yet no boss's orders or Serena like that in this list. And with the Archeops in the active spot, we'll need to retreat if Nicholas just doesn't attack. But with the double turbo energy from the prizes going to the hand, that's the energy you need.
Sableye as the consideration here now. Could place the damage counters perhaps on the Stoutland, try to work in a 2-hit knockout there.
Well, there's the retreat. Sableye's going to lost mine for this turn, and it's up to Andrew to have everything, but we know he does.
And we're going to see those damage counters there from the Lost Mind. And this is the strategy. Go after that Stoutland V. Put your opponent on a 1-turn clock.
Primal Turbo, search for that last Aurora energy. I guess you could have drawn it, and that would have been the route to not win, but there is the retreat. Andrew Hedrick, thanks to Stoutland V, moving forward to the finals, will face a Lugia Mirror no matter what.
Yep, that was definitely a wild one to watch there, as Stoutland V, we continued to look for when its opportunity was going to be there to shine, and finally closing out there with the powerful energies, just enough damage to take the knockout there for 2 prize cards on the Sableye.
Listen, you play the Stoutland V for a reason, and it is specifically for matchups like this. When your opponent's playing these low HP Pokemon, they're going to stick around until the very end of the game. As long as you can conserve those powerful colorless energies, your resources, you're going to be set, and it's pretty easy to close out that game.
Yeah, I mean, it was on the board the entire time. We saw we're looking for, is there any other play around this? Can you bring a different Pokemon up and maybe have enough hit points to stick around? But the only solution there was Sableye, and sure enough, there were enough energies to close things out.
And I just want to congratulate Nicholas Moffitt again. Making it this far with Lost Box Rayquaza is a feat in itself. Going through 15 rounds, over 1,400 people, and still putting up the numbers. Great play, and congratulations on top 4.
Yeah, I mean, this is the largest regional that we've ever had, and sure enough, he continues to find his way to the top tables and puts on a great show here, but it's going to be all on Andrew right now. Moving on into the finals, we'll see which Lugia player he's going to be facing off against, but that should be an